Our adventure began with a strange light falling over my home island of Zinkenstill. I chased it to the impact site, where I found a blue-haired girl named Lyria and a knight, Catalina. The girl was shaken, and pretty soon I learned the reason why. She was on the run from Erste Empire soldiers. I knew an unfair fight when I saw one, so I stepped up to protect Lyria from those awful tyrants. Catalina and I fended them off well enough, but when their backs were in the corner, they released a fire-breathing hydra. It charged me, sending me flying into the tree line. Moments away from death, all I could think about was Dad. He'd been the one who trained me, and he'd done a great job, but... well, who expects their son to get attacked by a 5-headed horror? He was going to be devastated. So, it's all over. Just as I began to sink into darkness, a gentle light enveloped my body. Lyria, wreathed by a mystical halo, was floating above me with her hand outstretched. She explained that she was going to merge our life forces. Fortunately, it worked. From that moment forward, Lyria and I would be inextricably linked. Looking into her blue eyes, I knew I had nothing to fear, not even death itself. 2 people, 1 life, a greater whole. Lyria had taken a huge risk to save me. Now, if one of us got hit with a fatal blow, it was curtains for both. And that thought awakened in me a desperate hunger for survival, for life. The next moment, Lyria and I felt this reverberation of power. The torrent of emotion rushing from me had awakened something. Darkness and flame swirled around us, coalescing into a massive dragon, Bahamut. With him on our side, we made short work of the Imperial Hydra. Now that their trump card had been blasted into oblivion, the Imperial Army had no choice but to run. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't chased that light. No Lyria, no lifelink, no adventure. Man, I probably wouldn't even have set foot off of Zinkenstill. Fate's a funny thing, isn't it? Since meeting Lyria, we've seen our fair share of joy and happiness, and pain and suffering. But the Grand Cypher crew doesn't buckle under pressure. We'll take on anything the journey throws at us. No regrets. Now, where was I? Oh, right. We've just humiliated the Empire, who probably had reserves waiting somewhere close by. We realized we needed to get off Zinkenstill. Fast. The Empire was not going to rest while Lyria was on the loose, and I figured that since we shared a life force now and all, it was in everyone's best interests if we stayed together. Plus, I'd always wanted to explore the far reaches of the skies, though doing it on the run, not what I had in mind. There was so much to think about, so much to decide. But all those plans could come after we had escaped Zinkenstill. I didn't want a whole army, this time with, 30 Hydras marching on my home island. And, well, I had another, more personal reason for wanting to leave. Before I knew it, our journey was at an end. The end. As in, we'd reached the end of the skies. My son, I'm waiting for you on Estalucia. I thought about Dad's letter. I missed him. When I was young, he would take me to the edge of the island, and we'd sit there, admiring the clouds. I wanted so badly to explore those skies, just like Dad. I had to see him again. And now, I wouldn't have to make that journey alone. With Vyrn, Lyria, and Catalina at my side, we commandeered a small Imperial craft and set out for the greatest of destinations, Estalucia. From the moment we left Zinkenstill, our adventures were hectic, to say the least. Catalina, who claimed to be an experienced pilot, crashed our small vessel onto the gusty fields of Port Breeze. But we quickly pulled ourselves together and found a new ally, and helmsman, in the form of Rackham. Since then, we gained more and more allies, and no matter what obstacle we faced, the crew always worked in tandem to find a solution. It's all thanks to their support that I've made it this far. And what a wild ride it's been. To think I had never even set foot off of Zinkenstill. But now, I can't even count the number of islands we've saved, let alone visited. Sure, being a roving band of heroes is difficult, but it's got its perks. New faces, new places, and a whole airship's worth of fun. Who could pass this life up? Anyway, we've just begun the next chapter of our adventure. We discovered another piece of the sky map, which led us to Zega Grande. Yeah, a whole new skydom. Just imagine the danger, the promise. But I knew it was going to be fine. Just another set of memories to add to our ever-growing collection. I hope you're ready, Zega Grande, because here we come.
Skyfarers, we need your aid! Goblins! Goblins in Tempel!
We were at the dock in Folca, taking care of landing procedures, when a panicked old merchant rushed toward us. In between his wheezing, he explained that a shipment of relief supplies headed for Tempel had been intercepted by monsters. Tempel reminded me of Id and how he had totally beat our butts. It was embarrassing, yeah, but what's worse, it reminded me of losing Lyria.
Tempel, huh? Maybe this time around I can actually help out.
That wasn't Vyrn's usual peppy tone. He was probably reliving those bad memories, just like me. I guess after you've spent as much time together as we have, you pretty much share a brain. It wasn't going to be a fun journey to Tempel for either of us. But we were Skyfarers, and desperate times called for brave faces. Anyway, goblins. Smart. Fast. That meant we wouldn't have the luxury of time. We needed to throw together the minimum amount of supplies needed for the journey and head out. I turned to Vyrn so we could discuss game plans, but then I saw his ears were droopy.
If we're fighting goblins, then we should have them licked by lunch.
Something was wrong, but with the hasty flight preparations, I couldn't spare the few minutes to investigate. Pull through it, Vyrn, I thought. We need you. A little less than an hour later, it was time to depart, but Vyrn was nowhere to be found.
Hurry, Skyfarers! We can't waste another second!
The later we got there, the more supplies would be stolen or destroyed. This could add up to weeks or even months of delay in Tempel's restoration. Vyrn, I hope you're okay, bud. I was worried out of my mind, but a captain's gotta do what a captain's gotta do. I left a message for Vyrn with the merchant, and we set out.
Goblins? I can't even fight stinking goblins! What good am I? Just a scaredy lizard who brings everybody down. Man. If only I was more like my pal, swinging swords and shooting spells. Then I'd finally be able to help out. Maybe I could have stopped Avia from taking Lyria. Maybe I could have done something. How do you live the skyfaring life without combat skills? Heck, I can't even blow sparks, much less fire. What kind of dragon can't breathe fire? Ha! I tell everybody I'm a cool dragon, but I'm just a faker.
You are unworthy.
You were right, Ed. I'm not worthy. Not worthy of being in the crew. Not worthy of being the captain's best bud.
Ah, finally, here you are! I was looking everywhere for you.
Uh-huh. What did this old dude want with me?
Your captain left you a message. The crew's gone on ahead, but as an indispensable member of the Grand Cipher, they want you with them as soon as possible. And that's an order.
Indispensable? That meant, like, VIP, right? Me? For a second there, I was about to blow it off. Like, yeah, right, my bud's just saying that. But then I remembered, this crew had always kept it real. No lies, no flattery. Yeah, we kicked butt because we believed in one another. These guys were my best friends. And maybe we weren't perfect. I mean, we lost to Id, but my bud put his captain boots on and got right back up and tried again. It was never about swords or magic. It was about always moving forward, never giving up. And more than anything, it was about being there for each other. What was I worrying about? Who cares if I couldn't fight? There are 1,000,002 ways to help on an adventure. I mean, you try questing without a cook or a healer.
Hello? Merchant of Vyrn, do you read me? If you're done daydreaming now, I've got a ship ready to go.
It was time to get a move on, or I wasn't worth my scales. Sorry, everybody. Your pal Vyrn is on his way.
We ready?
The supply should be this way. Let's move.
Uh-oh, our potion stock's running low. We'll be okay against a few goblins, right?
Hopefully. Just don't overdo it. Sure hope Vyrn's okay.
He was really down, wasn't he? Poor Vyrn.
Get out of our way! We're in a hurry here! Let's quit here! Come on! God,
Damn, back for more. Right when we were about to cross the finish line.
I see people! Over there, by the supplies! We have to go help them!
Folks doing okay?
Skyfarers! We're doing better now. We need these supplies to repair Tempel. Please.
I think that was the last of them.
Thank you. You saved Tempel's future.
Heads up, goblin reinforcements. Just don't quit.
Yeah! Did you miss me? Took me forever to catch up.
Vyrn!
Vyrn, was that an explosive? When did you get bombs?
Here come more of those stinking gobbles. Can you take them?
Sure can.
Let's roll. Distraction! Yikes! Why Vyrn are coming from above? Watch the rocket!
Those goblins managed to steal any more of the supplies, then the relief effort's good as done. No kidding. They've already hauled half our grain to higher ground.
Higher ground? Sounds like a job for a cool dragon.
That's a great idea, Vyrn. Put your wings to use.
Are you sure you can manage? What if the goblins spot you?
Piece of cake. I'll be back in 30 seconds or your money back. I found some of the stolen supplies. They're safe and sound. Let's run it next. You're not feeling their second one. Thank you. Get it back. Don't fall for their trick. Here, I brought potions. Everyone feeling better?
Thanks, Vyrn. You're a lifesaver.
Yeah! We got them all back! Those stinking gobos didn't get a single sack!
The enemy have started their retreat. I think the worst has passed.
Thanks to you Skyfarers, Tempel's finally gonna be rebuilt. We owe you everything.
Vyrn was the real MVP.
Aw, shucks. I bet you say that to all your lifelong pals.
Good work. Now let's get back out there. After we'd secured the supplies, Vyrn talked about how he didn't think he was good enough for the crew. Obviously, he was the only one that felt that way. I'd always appreciated his support. During fights, he was a supply runner, lookout, and cheerleader. And both on and off the battlefield, he was my courage. But even the best people, and dragons, get discouraged sometimes. I really should have been more vocal about my appreciation. I made sure he knows now. We won the day because he came flying to the rescue. Just like I knew he would.
I'll always be there for you, pal.
He was back to his old self, basking in the praise of the crew. Which caused his ego to swell like a balloon, but hey, who doesn't need a little confidence boost after a dip? And Vyrn, let me just say it now. I value you. And all the hard work you do. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Sometime after our mission in Tempel, we bumped into the old merchant in Folka.
Well, look who the cat dragged in. Thanks for handling things in Tempel. You all deserve the best.
Tempel had been roughed up by Furican's rampage, and all of the locals were busy repairing the damage. The work we did that day had been crucial to those recovery efforts.
Out of curiosity, my young lizard friend, were you much help to your crew?
Uh-oh. He said the L word. I turned to Vyrn, ready for his usual furious tagline.
Thanks, Pops. You really helped me see the light.
Huh. This was new. The old man threw an apple to Vyrn, and they exchanged a nod. Then, without explaining this bizarre bond between them that just came out of the blue, he left.
Does anyone else feel like the space-time continuum just broke?
Io was staring, dumbfounded at the small dragon, who was already happily munching away on a tart Granny Smith. Had he matured? Enough to ignore his most hated of hated insults?
Seriously, this is just too much to believe. He called you a lizard and everything. Maybe the ship will be a little quieter from now on, huh?
Hold it! I ain't no lizard! And don't you say that in front of the apple! What if it hears you?
Maybe he'd get there in another adventure or two. I'm gonna go get this report turned in.
Much thanks, Captain. Paperwork is...
Since the crew started helping Id with his job as the new Mr. Fix-It, we'd been really busy. The shop was completely flooded with requests. Those sad days when the Islanders didn't trust Id, they seemed like a lie now.
Lyria, how are you feeling today?
Id asked me that every time we met.
We're all worried about you. How's the lifelink holding up?
Right, our lifelink. Everyone thought it might have weakened when I was absorbed by Angra Mainyu. Honestly, I had been really scared back then. But now, with the weight of the sky off our shoulders, I felt better than ever. I flashed Vyrn and Id a smile to let them know I was okay. Talking about the lifelink brought back memories, and I realized Id still knew almost nothing about our adventures. I began by explaining Catalina's daring rescue of me and our escape from the Erste Empire. Then I described the big trees of Zinkenstill and the Imperial Hydra, and the sad reason I needed to make the lifelink with the captain. Eventually, we met Rackham and Io, Rosetta and Eugen. And before we knew it, our ship was full. It's really amazing how much our family has grown. The whole time I'd sat there, in silence, yes, but I could tell he was giving me 110% of his attention.
Since getting to Zega Grande, we've had a heck of a wild ride. But now that things have calmed down, we can get to making some good memories.
Sure.
I think I'm starting to understand Id. Sure, he has two modes, cold and colder. But if you really pay attention, you can see he has a warm enough heart. Id, the captain, the crew, you're the best friends I could ever ask for. Here's to hoping we'll be together forever.
After some exciting paperwork, I returned to find Lyria and Vyrn taking Id on a walk down memory lane.
You guys have seen some amazing things.
This was coming from someone who survived Lilith's schemes and won a mind battle with a god dragon. We'd all been through a lot.
It's all because the captain looked out for us. Yep, my butt is epic. You saw him save Lyria and this whole freaking skydom?
I turned to look at Vyrn, open-mouthed. Where was all this coming from?
I'm just trying to be vocal about my appreciation, remember? So yeah, take care of Lyria and keep up the good work.
I could certainly manage that. Just remembered, Sierra got us a whole bag of sweets, as thanks for all our hard work. Lyria and Vyrn exchanged a glance so charged, I thought the air between them was going to burst into flame.
You should have told us that first. Early dragon gets the grub. Hey, no fair. Come on, Vyrn. Wait!
And just like that, they were off. Foodies, right?
Captain, you got a moment?
I turned around, about to ask, "You want some too?" But one look at Id's knitted brow, and the question died on my lips.
Let's duel.
Did I just hear that right? Why, though? Did he have something against cookies?
Sorry. It was the stories about your adventures. They put the thought into my head.
Oh, that's why... No, I still got nothing.
I want to protect Lyria just as much as you do.
He stalked away then, and left me staring after him. I was still having trouble piecing together his train of thought, but one thing was clear. He was doing it for Lyria's sake. The duel was to take place at Halewind Altar. Lots of memories there. It's where we first met Id, where I lost to him, and Lyria was taken from us.
Do you guys really have to do this?
We're friends now, right? Friends don't fight each other.
Lyria and Vyrn tried to talk me out of it the whole way there, but I just kept thinking of the look in Id's eye. He wasn't going to back down, and I respected that.
Captain.
Id had been staring into the distance, like a statue set to guard the altar. He turned when he heard our footsteps.
Now that we've gotten to know one another, I've come to realize something. There's no one that can keep Lyria safe better than you.
He took deliberate steps towards me, but this was nothing like the first time we met. Before, he'd been terrifying, like a hydra closing in on its prey. But now, there was something softer about the light in his eyes. You could tell he was there to help.
You're the real thing. A hero. You didn't just save Lyria, you saved the skies. And I thought, maybe if we crossed blades again, I'd learn something. Something that would help me be more like you.
Id.
I finally got it. Id and I, there was still a part of us that couldn't tear away from that fateful day at Halewind Altar. When Id had been a bad guy, and I'd been too weak to protect Lyria. But things were different now. And this fight was going to prove it. I'm not losing this time.
I'd be disappointed if you did.
I drew my sword and took the first step forward.
Let's do this. Give me everything you've got.
Okay, right back at you.
Please, just promise me you two will be careful.
We already knew this, but it's pretty much unstoppable.
We'll see about that.
I believe in the bud. Show him how much you powered up.
I've grown too.
Decimate! Not today!
Let's up the ante.
Gonna take more than that to beat me.
She's thinning. You won't escape me!
Looking Reagan was looking good. Just like that. This should try to dodge this. There. So, wanna give up?
You wish. Just getting started.
Oh, I can't look anymore.
You're finished! You're mine. Now begin.
Looking good.
I knew this wouldn't be an easy fight.
You're no slouch yourself.
Patience is thinning.
Bruised, but still smiling. That's my bud.
Come on, just a little longer.
Just like
You won't escape me! Take this!
this is our chance. Don't move. Looking. Just like that. Not today.
Mercy for the weak. Thank you, Captain.
No. Thank you. I won. I stood, almost doubled over with my hands on my knees, trying to remember how to breathe. It staggered over and stuck a clenched hand in my face. Yeah, of course he'd go for a fist bump. I tapped his knuckles lightly with mine, and just like that, We were back to being loyal crewmates. That duel had blown away all our regrets. No more looking over our shoulders. It was time to move past, well, our past.
Hey, heard about your little spat with Id. Wish I still had that kind of energy.
Eugen gave me a hearty slap between the shoulder blades.
The chills I got when watching them. Man, they were going all out.
Of course, Vyrn had told everybody. I could appreciate honesty and openness throughout the crew, but I clearly needed to have a talk with that dragon about minding his own business.
So you're jealous Lyria's making new friends? What, do you have a crush or something?
Yo, don't be silly. That's not what this was about at all.
As Lyria tried to explain the situation, I just kind of sniffed and shuffled my feet. It had been a wild ride, but things were finally back to normal. I couldn't get the duel with Id out of my mind. He had been a perfect storm, placing his whole heart behind every blow. I had to remember what I was fighting for to even stand a chance. To be honest, I still don't think I'm stronger than him. I won this battle, yeah, but both of us are still changing, still growing. Who knows how it'll turn out if there's a next time. But I doubt we'll ever need to fight like that again. Id trusts me now. I can feel that just as much as I felt the shock of his sword clashing against mine. Trust is nice, but it always comes with responsibility. Still, that's the weight I signed up to carry when I became captain of the Grand Cipher, and took Lyria's hand all that time ago.
We really don't get a break.
For sure. It felt like everybody in Zega Grande had a job for Mr. Fix-It. Today's request? Just taking down a monster that can demolish a small village with a sneeze. No biggie. Vyrn, could you get us some potions?
You betcha! Liquid health coming right up!
Lyria, we're about to head out. Mind letting the rest of the crew know?
Sure, no problem.
I took a deep breath, letting it settle in my chest before releasing. We had a game plan, of course, but you never know how these things will go. Timing, coordination, everything had to be perfect.
You'll be fine. I trust you, and so does everyone else.
Id put a hand on my shoulder, and somehow that weight steadied me. We'd figure things out. We always did. I exchanged a nod with him, and we headed for the docks. The rest of the crew was already there, waving their arms in the air. From the smiles on their faces, you'd think we were going for a tropical vacation in Auguste. Well, either way, I was sure we'd all come out of it in one piece. We had a bright future ahead of us.